is stopping us from being educated. We can read, we can write, we can lead, and we pray. And that's the key, because you got a group of people from a political perspective that do not believe in a higher power or any form of afterlife. So the entire political party does not have any fear of vengeance or any fear of repercussions because they don't believe in it. Understood? So there's no way that I can go to war or I can fight with someone who does not believe in a higher power other than themselves. And I'm speaking on the Democratic Party, because critical race theory is dead. So the Democratic Party is on life support because the facts is coming out with the declassification of classified documents, on the campuses. And it's, you always got to go to the Harvards, Harvard North and Harvard South, the red and the blue, because Harvard, the scholars, if you look at it, Barack Obama, if you look at, recently, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, Cory Booker, I think Cory went to Yale, but Harvard is the school. Harvard is the law. Harvard is the society. So this is why I pay attention. Louis Gates, professor, Harvard. And he's done stories and documentaries on 1619. And he can't even get any of the black community to even pay attention because we are so hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray and running amok. But this time right now on this Good Friday, things appear to be changing. And when I say that things appear to be changing, meaning just sit back and allow them to naturally do what they do, because the truth is the truth. The truth is light, and the truth shall make us free. We can no longer sit back and act as if we're not a special group of people. And we know at Ashavadal, a lot of the issues when it comes to the black community, it's not that we're scared to fail. We're scared to succeed because we know when we succeed, this is when you come for us. But in the past, you controlled everything so you can manipulate it. But right now, we can look you right in the eye and say, time's up. Because right now, today, on Good Friday, we are leveling up. I've never seen an atmosphere in the community where change is of the essence. And it's not going to come with a politician's pen. It's not going to come with some legislation. The legislation is basically letting us know, what our next move is. Because if you want to put a bill with Emmett Till's and Willie Lynch's name on it, then let's just go ahead and right the wrongs of the entire Democratic past. And before we can get to the Republicans, we have to get to the Civil War, and it's solely Democratic versus Union. Because on documentation, over 350,000 black Union soldiers enlisted to basically fight for their freedoms, to see it just go all up in flames and then go back for another 150 years. And now we are here to right the wrongs. We are here to right the wrongs. This is our opportunity. So one of the tricks of the devil is distraction. So this is why we cannot be distracted until change. This is why we can't be distracted until change. There has been bills introduced into Congress as I speak, putting councils together to talk about the distributions, not the let's talk about reparations. Let's see how we're going to how it's going to be distributed. Where's the money going to come from? Now, we know at Ashavadal, they can't say they don't have the bread. You send in Ukraine another 800 million. You could have sent them you could have sent them 750 million and put 50 million down for reparations for the black community. And that's over $1 million for each Black American. We're only approximately 40 million strong as we speak. But we don't want to just sit back and just put money in people's pockets, to basically just keep the economy going and to have them broke again. We're putting plans together, and I would encourage you to talk about it, because throw anything on the wall. It's called brainstorming right now. You throw anything on the wall, and what sticks, we're going to talk about. Because what's sticking right now is $1 million check for Black American survivors who made it to their 50th birthday. We'll get $1 million, and then on your 50th birthday, you'll get $1 million. So basically, we want to give our youngsters a purpose to live, because they say it does get greater. They say it gets greater later, and it actually does. But we need an incentive to live. So instead of giving the youngsters $1 million, these are resources that could be put into the community from training and education. We need to wean ourselves off the criminalization clauses, meaning we cannot be continuing to make money off of prisoners. We got to find a better way. Crime cannot pay. We can no longer be the good economic for the criminalization community. And the criminal stock is predicated off of the production of what comes in and out of that prison. So let's go ahead and clean the money. Meaning we could sit down and have treaties with private prison owners and private prison investors and somehow flip the script and make their private prison investor portfolio turns into investment in growth in factories. Because when the trucks come into communities of color and to urban communities, they need to go to manufacturers in that community, workers by that community, pack them trucks up, and those trucks actually, leave because there's products being made. These are things that we're going to have to pay attention to. And it's not an imagination. This has to be done, because there's no way we as Black Americans in 2022 can sit back and act like there's not a dark cloud or some type of black eye on our race. How can you one week get a Supreme Court justice approved and appointed, and then the next week, Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin resigned from lieutenant governor position from Democratic Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin for campaign finance, was able to resign, was arrested. And then we have the first Black terrorist, Frank James, and now the Black mayor of New York, the Black police chief, and the governor is ready to throw the book at the criminals once again. And we're going to see this in all 50 states if we don't understand the importance of politics. Because I hear all the time, I don't talk politics, but we're affected by it. The gas prices, we should have talked about it. Inflation, we should have talked about it. Wars, leaving Afghanistan, sending billions of aid to foreign nations, we should have talked about it. Because politics is, now I wouldn't say it's manipulative. It's really not a good thing. If you look at the Oxford or the Webster American definition, it's a grand manipulator. Because right now you wonder why America is willing to give all the resources it can to Ukraine is because America, or I should say the Biden administration, has invested heavily in Ukraine, because Ukraine actually produces the most important material for the semiconductors, and that's neon. That's right, neon. So Vladimir Putin understands that. So if we can get Ukraine back, we will have all, if not all, of the elements that we need to manufacture and to create a supply chain of semiconductors, and he could name his price. So this is why America decided we got to get up out of Afghanistan and get up out of the dope game. Let's leave the Oxycontin. Let's leave the fentanyl. Let's leave the heroin. Forget the southern border. We don't care nothing about that. We need to get this neon, because there has been a bill introduced 2 weeks ago. We're going to talk about it moving down the road, to earmark $60 million to basically create a supply chain of semiconductors in Ukraine. That's right. An American politician introduced a bill to earmark $60 million within the last 30 days. I'm going to just say that. You can look it up yourself. Within the last 30 days to create a semiconductor supply chain. So now we know. Joe Biden said it himself. Nothing happens by coincidence, or nothing happens by accident. Now, with Dianne Feinstein, with her colleagues worried that she is now mentally unfit, cited, instead of discussing policy like they used to over the last 15 years, she kept asking them, who are you? They had to reintroduce themselves. Joe Biden, what happens when Joe continues to cognitively decline? It does not get better. So you telling me the leader of the free world will be 80 years old and he can't even have a conversation or do a speech without a teleprompter? That's crazy. So that shows you that elderly abuse is a thing. So the family has did well, and they are on their last ditch effort. This is their last opportunity to push that agenda, because if you look at the, private members of the family, whether it's liberal, elitists or conservative elitists, they're in their 80s and some are in their 90s. And a lot of them do not want to see the liberation of black people. They don't want to see the social advancements of black people. They don't want to see that, because their whole careers were predicated on standing on us. And if you look at the bills, why would Joe Biden sign a bill and put Emmett Till's name on it and put Willie Lynch's name on it? Now, who advised them? Now, if Barack Obama did it, good looking out. Now, Barack Obama did that, good looking out, because it looks like there's no way we could have this conversation without these samples. Now, if I was a lawyer, this would be Exhibit A to basically cancel out critical race theory, take that T off and put critical race systems and critical race facts, because the systems of critical race is a systematic racism that has the black race as the leaders of the downtrodden. And this is why a better black America is leading the charge for the downtrodden when it comes to social and economics. And this is why black is an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, kinsmen. We just are basically taking a moral approach and looking back and making the necessary corrections, to a dark past. And politically, the Democratic Party has been worse to the black community than the Republican Party. And then if you look at liberals and conservatives, we're all pretty much moderate. Liberals pretty much are too far left, and the black man has to stand in between. We cannot be, between the two rivaling tribes. We cannot be torn in between, and no pun intended, because the science of Willie Lynch, you take the biggest, most aggressive, and most active slaves, and you make an example out of them. So if you do the same thing for the most gifted race, make an example out of them. We see those examples every day. I cannot turn the TV on without seeing a young athletic man running around in a athletic suit, chasing somebody home, robbing somebody home, follow home robberies and all these things, and then turn the TV on, turn on the political conservative shows and see my brothers sitting right there, losing their jobs because of campaign financing corruption. And then you get a smoke bombs and a black man named Frank James, committing terrorist attacks on a subway in Brooklyn. That's crazy. But man, time flies when you're having fun. But that's my time, people. Until next time, happy Good Friday to you. A better Black America, the #1 urban podcast stateside and worldwide. Peace out.